Meeting of the Township Committee, February 18, 2020. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk on January 10, 2020. Committeeman Hybel.
Here.
Committeeman Sambrino.
Here.
Committeewoman Snell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
At this time, I'd like to invite Deputy Director Freeholder Ciccone to please come forward.
Please stand and join me in saluting the greatest symbol of freedom that has been here around the world. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our constitutions, freedoms, and way of life. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I know today is quite a large crowd, and it's nice to see a lot of new faces. So, first off, I want to welcome everybody and thank you to everyone here. This is a tremendous day, not only for our town, but for our police department. And I see a lot of new faces, old faces. And I see Charlie Terafenko back there. You're an old face, Charlie, sorry. But, and quite a bit of our elected officials that are joining us, county and state elected officials that are joining us here today. As I'm sure many of you know, the 2020 is the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote in the United States of America. And we are honored to have with us today, and before I call them all up and take part in the presentation of not only celebrating one of America's greatest moments, but I just want to introduce them. Obviously, we've heard from our Deputy Director, Freeholder Deputy Director Ciccone, our Freeholder Lillian Burry, our County Clerk Christine Hammer, and former Mayor and Surrogate Rosemary Peters. So we have a short program that we are all very thankful for all of you to take part in today. But at this time, I'm going to invite up our County Clerk, Christine Hanlon, for a reading of the 19th Amendment passed in 1920.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for inviting me and all of my fellow elected officials to be with you tonight to celebrate this historic milestone in our country's history. I'm going to read what happened 100 years ago for the passage of the 19th Amendment. At the 66th Congress of the United States of America, at the first session, proposing an amendment to the Constitution extending the right of suffrage to women, resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, 2/3 of each house concurring therein, that the following article is proposed as an amendment to the Constitution, which shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the Constitution when ratified by the legislature of 3/4 of the several states. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk, and I personally want to thank you for all that you're doing in recognition of the centennial for the passage of the 19th Amendment, all that you're doing in the clerk's office. Thank you very much for all that you're going to be doing over the course of 2020, so thank you. And now I have a real honor in someone that sat in this chair in welcoming our former mayor and current surrogate, Rosemary Peters, to read the proclamation officially proclaiming 2020 as the year and anniversary of women's right to vote.
Thank you, Mayor. I really appreciate being given this honor. I was asked recently by someone if I had broken any glass ceilings, and I said, no, actually, the glass ceiling in Middletown was broken before me. I was the second woman mayor, and Olga Vocal was actually the first woman mayor of Middletown. But anyway, I said I was happy that someone had gone before me and had paved the way for an absolutely wonderful experience in my life. Here's the proclamation from the office of the mayor. Whereas the year 2020 marks the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment of the United States Constitution, and whereas women fought for the right to vote for more than a century and persevered in the face of resistance, and whereas many New Jersey women advocated for the right to vote, and whereas Monmouth County was the home to many suffragists, both male and female, and suffrage rallies and events occurred within Monmouth County's borders, and whereas February 9th, 2020 will mark the centennial of the New Jersey ratification of the 19th Amendment, and whereas August 26, 2020 will mark the nationwide centennial of the 19th Amendment, officially becoming part of the United States Constitution after the required number of states had ratified. And whereas daughters, granddaughters, and great-granddaughters of the women who fought so hard to vote have been making their voices heard at the polls for nearly 100 years. And whereas women are running for office and currently in elected office in large numbers in Monmouth County, follow in the footsteps of these great suffragists. And whereas there are currently over 200 women registered to vote in Monmouth County, New Jersey, I think that should be an applause line. 200,000 women registered to vote in Monmouth County. Whereas all government entities on the local, state, and national level should commemorate and recognize this historic milestone and reaffirm its commitment to empowering and uplifting the voices of women. Now, Mayor Tony Perry and the Middletown Township Committee do hereby celebrate and recognize the 100th anniversary of the passage and ratification of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, providing for women's suffrage, honor the role of the ratification of the 19th Amendment in promoting the core values of our democracy as set forth in the Constitution of the United States, and reaffirm our desire to continue strengthening democratic participation and to inspire future generations to cherish and preserve the historic precedent established by the 19th Amendment.
At this time, I'd like to invite freeholder Sue Kiley and freeholder Lillian Burry, Clerk Christine Hanlon, Serena Damaso, and Rosemary Peters, please come forward.
Luckiest guy ever. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Mayor and Township Committee members, I brought some goodie bags for you from myself, freeholder Kiley, and freeholder Burry. The things in here were made by my office and the Office of County Public Information. And there are special books in here, bookmarks made to commemorate the ratification of the 19th Amendment Centennial, some pins, and some little gifts for all of you.
this time, I am proud to pass this microphone and this program off to our committee woman, Pat.
What was supposed to be 6 amazing young ladies, but we only have 5 because one couldn't make it tonight. They've all done a magnificent job. One of them I think I already know a little bit about because I've been following her on Facebook. So I'm going to invite Finley. So I'm not going to say what they did. I'm going to let them tell you all. So do you want to start us off? This is Finley, and she has a very special story. And I think a lot of you probably have seen her on Facebook. I'm going to let her tell you about what she's done.
Good evening, Mayor Perry, Township Committee, and special guests. My name is Finley Elias, and I'm 10 years old and attend Ciccone Elementary School. After seeing the devastation caused by the Australian bushfires, I was moved to help. My mom is Australian and I have lots of family there, including 2 of my uncles who are firefighters. I am sure that everyone knows what a cute little koala is. Unfortunately, many koalas have been badly injured by these fires. I wanted to do something to make a difference and show Australia that we cared. I designed a logo that you see on my hoodie tonight and sold merchandise to the school and others in Middletown, my mom's school district in Monroe, and family and friends around the world. After 3 weeks, I was able to raise over $17,000 and will donate all the money to the Koala Hospital in New South Wales that specializes in koala care and rehabilitation. I wanted to show that a little bit of kindness could go a long way. I'm so grateful to everybody who supported me and honored to have been invited here tonight. Thank you.
I don't think there's anybody that doesn't like koala bear. You ready? I'm going to call on Marlo to be the spokeswoman, and I'm going to include you in a minute or two, because she was the one that started up her project. These are all 5th graders at Nut Swamp, and did you do the baking or just sell the bakery? Did you bake? You did the baking too? Okay, why don't you take it away, Marlo, and tell us what you guys did.
So as she said, we were all in the grade at Nut Swamp. So in 1st grade, I began selling rainbows, bracelets, and hand-drawn stickers with my family in New Jersey and South Carolina. As I got older, I made more things to sell and to donate to the SPCA. Last year, in 4th grade, I made a total of $106, all of which went to the SPCA. That was a huge accomplishment. So last fall, I decided to recruit my best friends, Lila, Emma, and Mia, and my younger brother, Max, who made candles. We were very successful, and we can't wait for our fundraising opportunity because it was so good to help our community. People who couldn't attend bought personalized bracelets through our parents' Facebook.
How much money did you raise? That's you? You're the money one?
In total, we raised over $1,700 through our holiday shop fundraiser. We donated $1,248 to the Monmouth County ASPCA and over $500 to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We were so incredibly proud of how much that we raised that you could only imagine our excitement when we found out that Leah's dad's company, Bloomberg, was going to match our donations. After Bloomberg matched the donations, the total amount that we raised was over $3,400. We are super thankful to friends, family, neighbors, and our community for their help and support. In the future, we hope that we will expand, make more profit, and find more artistic items to sell. We are so proud of the impact we have made on our community and hope to do more. We are honored to be here and look forward to helping our community year after year, whether big or small. Thank you for acknowledging our efforts to be SPCA and St. Jude's. Stay tuned for our next adventures.
Part of what I came aboard talking about is volunteering. I think it's really important to give of yourself to a cause that you love, and that's exactly what these young ladies did. And we're all very, very proud of you. And I will say that I made my husband bring one of my granddaughters here so they could listen to your story. So she may find a cause in another year. She's only in second grade. So maybe in another year, she'll find some cause for herself, and she'll do the same that you guys are doing. But I know there's a lot of township students and children that do all their things every day. And I think it's really important to promote that in our kids. It's just super important to think more of other people sometimes than themselves. And I think it's an awesome job you guys did and taking your causes on. But I do have a question. What made you pick the Monmouth County ASPCA? Just because of animals?
We all love animals.
I get it. I figured.
Pets. There's one of the best, I guess.
There you go. Well, you've done Middletown proud. I will say we are missing Brenna McCormick, and we're missing, she's pretty notable right now because she is on the Girl Scout cookie box of the Thanks a Lot Girl Scout cookies. So she's not here today, unfortunately, and we missed her, but she did a good thing too, so congratulations, girl.
Well, I want to, just before we move on, I want to congratulate all of you and thank you all for being here very much. You all made Middletown incredibly proud. And I want to thank our friend Russell Citcher, the head of the SPCA, who's here today, who is incredibly grateful for every donation that you provide to the SPCA.
We certainly are, Mayor. And your mom and dad all said you could have kittens and puppies.
At this time, I'd like to invite Sergeant Kimberly Best to please come forward with your family.
occasion that we are so I have to say this is really an incredible honor because, well, Sergeant Best is about to become the first female lieutenant in Middletown's 92-year history. So on an occasion like this, how could we not make sure this happened? I want to thank our Chief, Craig Weber, our Deputy Chief, Bob Stefanski, and Kim, congratulations. And I told her before we got started, I said, don't worry about it if you're nervous. I got my name wrong when I got sworn in as mayor, so it's okay. I, Kimberly Best.
I, Kimberly Best.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution.
That I will support the Constitution.
Of the United States.
Of the United States.
And the Constitution.
And the Constitution.
Of the State of New Jersey.
Of the State of New Jersey.
And that I will bear true faith.
And that I will bear true faith.
And allegiance.
And allegiance.
To the same.
To the same.
And to the governments established.
And to the governments established.
In the United States.
In the United States.
And in this state.
And in this state.
Under the authority of the people.
Under the authority of the people.
And I do swear.
And I do swear.
To faithfully.
To faithfully.
Impartially.
Impartially.
And justly perform.
And justly perform.
All the duties.
All the duties.
Of lieutenant.
Of lieutenant.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Chief, you want to say very briefly? It's okay, Chief. You'll bill by the hour.
I'm salaried, as a chief. I pointed out. So we'll take it back. I want to thank the Township Committee and the Mayor for allowing us to make the promotions tonight and move forward. Kimberly was the third female officer hired in the history of the department. She was the second one to make sergeant, and now she's the first one to make lieutenant. Long, proud tradition in the family. Her father, Bill Best, is retired as a lieutenant. He was my first sergeant when I was hired. Her uncle, Woody, also lieutenant. With the department, her cousin David served us. So we've had 4 members of the Best family who all served the township with distinction and honor. She was formerly a field training officer, as most of the officers get promoted tonight. These are our most competent officers, including the term become our field training officers, and they instill the values and skills and expertise in our new officers. So invariably, they usually progress and get promoted, so we're always training new upcoming officers. But she's done a tremendous job in the detective bureau and patrol. I'm confident she'll do an outstanding job. Congratulations.
Better sign. You don't get paid.
Gotta sign. It's not official thing.
Don't get feeling.
At this time, I'd like to invite Officer Stephanie Burke to please come forward with your family.
How can this not be a prouder day right here? Stephanie, congratulations. You're following in great footsteps, and we'll know you'll make a great start. I, Stephanie Burke, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people. And I do swear to faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of sergeant, according to the best of my ability. So help you God. Congratulations.
Okay, again, very quickly, Stephanie's one of our field training officers, only with the agency 6 going on 7 years. She has a bachelor's degree from Rutgers, master's from Ciccone University. Done an outstanding job. We're proud of her, and I wish you all to do a great job.
You're not a Rutgers graduate.
That's 2 for 2.
Fiore, 2 for 2. Don't worry, you get used to it. They herd you like cats.
Too retired. I only know him because of her.
We do have to have a public hearing on a ordinance 2020-3284, ordinance amending section 84-7B, 2, governing the number of deputy chiefs permitted to be appointed within Middletown Police Department.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2020-3284? Seeing no member of the public, move to close public portion and approve.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt this ordinance on second and final reading.
Yeah, so more.
At this time, I'd like to invite Lieutenant John Kaiser to please come forward with your family.
You see Metro?
I, John Kaiser,
I, John Kaiser,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people,
And I do swear
and I do swear
to faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of Deputy Chief
of Deputy Chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Chief.
I couldn't see him.
So I just want to say this, Chief, come on up. I just want to say quickly, Middletown is incredibly proud to have the ability to have such incredible ranks, from our chief to our Deputy Chief Stefanski, and now our about to be 2 new Deputy Chiefs. And I think it's incredibly important to say that John Kaiser and Paul Bailey, #1, #3 on the civil service exam. Absolutely love it.
Thanks. When I had an opportunity to address the incoming police academy class recently, I took John with me. We were talking. It seemed like yesterday I was a rookie patrolman. John was actually a college intern from Eastern Kentucky University riding with me. One of the calls we had that day was actually a bank robbery. Usually pretty uneventful. We had a pretty interesting day. Time flew by. John has done an outstanding job in every position he's held, from patrol to the Records Bureau. He's been an integral part of the Emergency Services Unit, also field training, also degree. In addition to his bachelor's degree, he has a master's degree from, and a postgraduate work from Fairleigh Dickinson. He's an adjunct professor, very accomplished. And again, so we're very fortunate. The candidates here tonight are some of the most highly qualified to accomplish an outstanding job. His father is one of the best detectives we had. I had the pleasure of working with him when I was younger, new officer, and his entire family, his brother, his cousins, his uncles, girlfriend, everybody here is accomplished law enforcement. So it's a tremendous family tradition of service. Congratulations. Thank you.
Most important. My daughter Catherine and my son Emmett, they've been with me every step of the way. Patrick, Michael, kind of run us.
I feel pretty safer at this point.
invite Lieutenant Paul Bailey to please come forward with your family.
Fair warning, I cry when the kid comes home at Christmas in the Folgers commercial.
Tarafaco's already crying back. No. I, Paul Bailey,
I, Paul Bailey,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New
of the
Jersey,
State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
And I do swear
And I do swear
to faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of
all the duties of
Deputy Chief of Police
Deputy Chief of Police
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Chief, again, very quickly, it's just 20 years ago in 2000, I was sworn in as a new sergeant, and we hired Patrolman Bailey, Patrolman Wildwood. And we have Deputy Chief Murphy and Chief Regaletto who came up from Wildwood, so I appreciate that. Thank you for coming up to celebrate this. Paul's done an outstanding job again. He was one of our field training officers. Did a great job as a sergeant, and recently was a detective bureau commander. He has a bachelor's degree from a university that won't exist, Westboro College, but yeah, Rowan University. I think we want them too. Very well. So, again, congratulations on your confident full of
At this time, I'd like to invite Sergeant Antonio Ciccone to please come forward with your family.
Four? Okay.
I, Antonio Ciccone, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. And I do swear
I do swear
to faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of lieutenant
of lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help you God. Congratulations. It's a felony if you get it.
Lieutenant Stone's a graduate of the University of South Carolina, another former field training officer who's done an outstanding job as a patrolman sergeant on Township Committee. Congratulations.
I appreciate everybody's patience. I know you're all waiting for our consent agenda at the end of this meeting, so thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to invite Patrolman Christopher D. to please come forward with your family.
Can't mistake that one.
I, Christopher D.
I, Christopher D.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
And I do swear
And I do swear
to faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of sergeant
of sergeant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God. Congratulations. What did I say? Felon? Anything for you.
Yeah, real quick, Chris was in the police academy, actually had the misfortune of getting injured. Came back to the academy before he back to the department before you go back to the academy. So you're assigned to the traffic bureaus and lieutenants of the teams of federal court. Yeah, so that's one of the perfect background, veteran of the United States Army, did a tour of Kosovo, several tours in Iraq, field training yesterday. He's done a terrific job. The badge that was just been done by his wife this evening has been passed down from 4 previous sergeants. It started with Captain Ford. I believe he gave it to later become Chief Pond. He made sergeant. Chief Pondra gave it to Lieutenant Schneider when he made sergeant, and his lieutenants just I believe they each have their initials and badge numbers in the back. So you see him later. So I'm sure his badge and nice story. So congratulations, Chris. Done a great job.
At this time, I'd like to invite Patrolman David Ringkamp to please come forward.
Tony Mercatante said I should hit with you and tell you we don't have any more badges left. I think I'm waiting to say that. I, David Ringkamp, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I do swear to faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of sergeant according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Dave's a graduate of Bloomsburg University in Pennsylvania. He is an Army veteran, served in Guantanamo Bay and served tours of duty in Afghanistan. He's been in an acting position as sergeant since last summer. He's been doing a great job, and we'll promote him on topics of the military. I think all of our officers, members of the public, and friends and family that came out to celebrate tremendous milestones in everybody's careers. Again, we have some of the most highly qualified people on contract who do an outstanding job improving the quality and delivery of services we provide.
very quickly, there's a reason that Middletown is consistently rated one of the safest towns, not just here in New Jersey, but in America, and that's because of the efforts of our Chief Craig Weber and all the people that you see here in this room. Thank you for everything that you do. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, allow you all to collect yourselves and for me to get my voice back, but for all the families and for all the officers, thank you all very
Sorry, just for yourself.
2020 reorganization meeting, January 21st, 2020 regular meeting, and a February 3rd, 2020 workshop meeting.
Motion to approve.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell. Yes. Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve minutes. At this time, we have ordinance for public hearing, 2020-3283, an ordinance establishing traffic regulations for Normandy Park.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2020-3283? Yes, sir. Just come over right up to the microphone, your first and last name, and your address for the record, sir. Thank you. We appreciate your patience. I know it's been an hour, but a good hour. So thank you for your patience, sir.
You're welcome. Rob Hoskins, 6 Middletown Road. So, my son's a student at South as a junior, and as a junior, he did not park on campus. Right? So, parts that he was parking over at Normandy. And throughout the course of this year, I've gone to pick him up a couple times for doctor's appointments and things like that, middle of the day, which I would suggest is probably a pretty good barometer of how many kids are parking there, what's going on. It's only like 20 or 25 cars parked down by the hockey. So, we made a decision on New Monmouth Road where we don't get busing to go to the south with the idea he was going to drive to school with no problem when we started school. Down the road, they understand that that's changed. Kids have been told they can't park over there. They also cannot park in the surrounding neighborhoods around south. And I'm trying to understand why they can't park there.
Sure.
I'm told that there's 77 spots in the lot. I don't know if that's right. I'm sure that's what comes in the lot. Looks like the number of cars that are there that are student-related are roughly 20, 25. The tennis courts, there's only 4 over there. So you figure if everyone's playing doubles, that's 8. That's 4 per court times 4 courts, that's 16 people playing. So you got 16 cars plus 25 cars, 41 cars, and a lot of 77.
Yeah, so I appreciate your comments. I just want to take a step back. So Normandy Park was created by Greenacres Fund, and there are DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, requirements on what can and cannot be utilized, placed, or that stays stagnant, whether it's on the courts, whether it is in the parking lot. Because we use certain dollars, dedicated dollars for open space, we are actually required and have received, Tony can tell us exactly how many, the State Department of Environmental Protection does not allow for parking for non-park related vehicles. So if you are there to park and walk across and go to south, or go to north, which is the case at Tyndall, that is not allowed. We have been told by the Department of Environmental Protection that you need a course of action to correct this issue. So we sat down as a part of our monthly meetings with the school board several times and told them of this issue. They were well aware. And we, at South, worked very closely with Dr. George because the issue is more prevalent at South than it is at North. There are a lot more spots needed at South. So we sat down with Dr. George. We were able to, utilizing township resources and school board resources, we were able to create an additional, more than 100 parking spaces at South. It's actually, the new parking spaces, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, line up along the Navy Road, along the train tracks now. There is a gravel parking lot. The township was able to do some grading over there and then put some stone over there. The issue, and I encourage you to go to the school board about this question, is from a policy perspective as to who is and who is not allowed to park on site. The current policy states that only seniors are allowed to park there. that's not a decision that this governing body can make. We have to, and that's why we work in conjunction with the school board, was to state that unfortunately DEP was coming to the point where they were saying, you are going to be fined if you don't come up with a remedy to these students parking in a park's parking lot. So that is why we had to do what we did. We tried to be as accommodating to the school boards by using our resources to create that. We've been great partners over the last 14 or so months. It's been a very good partnership in issues like this. So I fully understand and appreciate, and everybody up here appreciates the dilemma that it becomes. But this is, from a policy perspective, something that the school board needs to address and state that that juniors may or may not be able to park on site.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if that was going to be the case, then it would have been helpful to know that that was the case when you were choosing schools, choosing arrangements and stuff at the beginning of the year. Now we're mid-flow, and we've got parents who are going in late to work, and we've got kids who can't get home even though they've got cars, and they've got insurance on the car, they can't use it.
We let the school board know a year ago that we got this first letter from the DEP, because we had the problem in the DEP, Green Acres, I don't know if you say Green Acres. Green Acres comes, when they come in May, when they come in June, 25 spots is 70 spots, because as the juniors get older, right now you may have 25 in January, but every month more juniors turn 17, and more decide to try. So
you live on the Mount Road?
Yeah.
Well, then why aren't you entitled to bus? Because you're in the North District. Right. You chose to send your child south. Right. Well, that's why. Because I mean, your child should go north, considering we're the district.
Right. I made that decision in September with the understanding that he that there's parking.
He wasn't allowed to in September either.
Right. I mean, we allowed it.
There's been for 2 years prior to you making the decision, juniors weren't allowed to park there anyway.
We kept telling them that they couldn't park there, but it was going kind of on deaf ears, and then finally the state said, no more, we're going to fine it.
We did this ordinance many years ago for Tyndall for exactly the same reason. Kids are parking in Tyndall and walking across the north. And so it's only now that we're getting to Normandy because it became a problem at South. The South is growing a little more than North. South bigger than North the first time in many years. Ever.
So I have a couple of questions. One is when you worked with South and you made a determination to add 100 spots. Is that why 100 versus 80 versus
Space.
So you did as many as you could.
They made the decision. They just were able to utilize. We work in partnership with them to be able to provide the resources that we had in terms of labor and materials and equipment.
So, do you know locally, since we're in the middle of the school year, at this juncture, right? In my particular case, and some other student in my particular case, we would need to pay for a private bus at $400 for the rest of the school year to get my son to school.
Yeah, I think this school has, I think the school board has an arrangement with certain areas like the village section where if you choose to go, you have to provide your own bus. I think that's the, I guess that's where probably from itself.
Right. Because the regular bus is a particular area for beyond that. Yeah. So do you know when that's going to happen tomorrow? You guys,
we have no
choice.
When this bill takes place, there will now be a restriction and enforcement on parking at Normandy Park.
Otherwise, we face the fact that the DEP for 3 acres no longer funding any of the projects that we do.
And the other thing is the town cannot take on the financial penalties that the school board is now forcing us into. The school board is getting cut $1.8 million by the state in school funding, right? They get 65% of the taxes. And I'm trying to make and everybody up here, the administration is making every effort to try and rectify the issue. But you have two issues. The state is not going to stop telling us you can't have kids parking here and then walking across the street and going to the high school. Okay? So either we take on the penalty of that, which we are not in a position to do, nor is that fair to any of the residents of Middletown who then have to use taxpayer dollars to pay a penalty. And the other argument is, there is, I understand that it puts people in a predicament, but it puts the entire town in a predicament when we say, how are we supposed to weigh the rights of X number of students versus taxpayers of Middletown? And, you know, the point I'm trying to make is, we have to do what's in the best interest of the facilities and the parks that are ours. And the school board, you know, really your request to the school board should be, maybe it is time to reevaluate whether or not juniors can park at South, North, and South.
Also, seniors response. We don't know what their policy is.
I mean, everybody knows where they're leaving the side, walking down the road, right?
Yes.
Nobody should take it, it doesn't seem like there's any problem with football.
Because it's the parking restriction ends at 4 o'clock. Because that neighborhoods surrounding both schools have, I mean, it becomes a problem with the student parking and the way they park throughout the neighborhoods, which is why there's no school parking from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. because they block driveways, they block.
We don't regulate parking on the side of the school.
Right.
I mean, and I'm sure the school wouldn't want us to give everyone tickets and their cars along the driveway. But we don't want to necessarily issue people tickets. But we can only control the park. If the state says you can't park at a park for any use of using the park. It's as simple as that. Just not allowed to do it. Because then what happens, lots of parks around town, in the neighborhoods, the residents will start parking. Have a company, they park in lot, it would become a problem if people who have to use the parking lot for something other than recreation.
So if I didn't hear anybody, you're suggesting we go back and see
Yes, I would 100% encourage you to go to the next school board meeting and request that due to the fact that the town has been forced into the position it currently is in, with regards to the Department of Environmental Protection's restrictions on parking and amenity into the park, that the school board reevaluate its parking policy for juniors. That would be the best advice I could provide. Appreciate your comments, sir. Any other member of the public wish to speak on public ordinance? Seeing no other member of the public stepping forward, move to close public portion and approve.
Yes. Deputy Mayor Fiore. Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt this ordinance on second and final reading. Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have introduction of proposed ordinances. Our first ordinance, 2020-3285, an ordinance approving the sale of township-owned real property in block 694, lot 8.
Motion to introduce.
Committeeman Heibel.
Yes.
Committeeman Senabrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held March 2nd, 2020. Our next ordinance for introduction, 2020-3286, an ordinance amending section 415-14 governing regulations of brush, leaves, and tree cuttings.
Motion to introduce.
Committeeman Heibel.
Yes.
Committeeman Senabrino. Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held March 2nd, 2020. At this time, I'd like to ask the Township Committee to adopt a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 20-63 through 20-71.
Motion to approve.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this consent agenda. At this time, we have the Township Committee acting as the ABC issuing authority. We have Resolution 20-72, resolution authorizing place-to-place transfer for Peninsula Liquors, LLC, license 1331-44-033.
Motion to approve. Second.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt this resolution. At this time, we have Township Committee comments.
Committeeman Heidel.
It's an amazing night here. A lot of people left. This room is packed. 6 girls that were up here, just truly amazing what we were able to accomplish. Raising a lot of money. Great job. Police officers, we truly did the best. I showed once again a lot of tradition in the room, right? Great job.
Thank you. Committeewoman Snell.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. First of all, we have the best police department in the country, and we have the best children in the township. So, kudos to those groups, especially to the deputy chiefs, lieutenants, and sergeants. A couple things. We went to a chili cook-off at the United Methodist Church, and good old Pastor Derek tried to kill us all with his hot chili, but it was a lot of fun. I think. Who was it? Rick? Did you taste that chili?
You had no problems with
Another thing, we honored Mike Stratford at Old Village for 45 years of service to the Middletown Police Fire Department. A wonderful gentleman and has been the township Dutch, so congratulations to him. And finally, what better way to end than a tie at the North-South hockey game. It was a beautiful thing. So that's all I have here. Thank you.
No, listen. I said it was going to end in
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You are right.
Two seconds left.
That's right. South won by 1 in the last, what, 2 seconds? You're right.
2 seconds, yeah.
They tied the last two.
Yeah. It would have been
My bad.
2 in a row for me. 2 ties in a row.
Yes, it would. That's right. I forgot the last 2 seconds.
Thank
It
you.
was still good because my kids went to sell, so it's fine.
Thank you, Committeewoman Snell. Committeeman Sedambrino.
Mayor, thank you very much. If tonight wasn't a great representation of what Middletown is, I don't know what else is. Between our new deputy chiefs and the police department as keeping Middletown the safest place in the state and in the country, and our 5th grade volunteers, wow, it really takes my breath away. It makes me proud to be part of this township committee. The only other thing I'll say, Mayor, is that after I tasted Pastor Derek's the bomb chili, I couldn't feel my lips for a half hour. That's all I have.
Thank you, Committeeman Sedambrino. Deputy Mayor.
Some events, I guess, are not worth missing if I missed, not feeling my mouth right.
Ribbons. It's the most unholy thing a pastor has ever done, I swear to you.
Sorry, just a few things, Mayor. First of all, thank you, Committeewoman Snell, for the program tonight in honoring the 19th Amendment. It was great to see not only our elected women officials here, but yourself, but also the young women who've done so much for this community at such a young age, which is great to see. And I'd also give a special shout out and thank you to our own clerk's office, because without our own clerk's office, no election actually works. So I know they do a great job on election day and throughout the years with all the election stuff. So thank you, Heidi, and your staff for all that you do to make that happen. Again, as my colleague said, what a tremendous night for our police department. We do not take it for granted that we have country. It is not taken for granted by any of us that we are one of the safest communities in this country because of these fine men and women. And I'm really happy for all of those promotions. I think it's great leadership, and I look forward to that leadership over the next few years, making Middletown, keeping Middletown.
Thank you very much. I will just quickly say I've had the great fortune of working with both Paul and John on a variety of issues and occasions, and it is the day-to-day operations of the police department and the township that are so critically important to really evaluate the abilities of all of our employees. And I have to tell you, to be number 1 and number 3 in the state of New Jersey, and now have been both as deputy chiefs in the Middletown Township Police Department, will set our MTPD on solid footing, on solid ground for the next many years. And I want to thank the Chief, Craig Weber, Deputy Chief Stefanski, and congratulate all of our new deputy chiefs, and a special shout out to our first lieutenant, our first female lieutenant in Kim Best. Again, she represents this great department in many ways, and I'm fortunate to have worked with her in a variety of those capacities. And I want to congratulate her and such a dedicated, a family so dedicated to public service. You really look at everyone that, all the people that are around her. 2 former police officers, Middletown police officers in the family, and to see her tonight become in the 92-year history of the Middletown Township Police Department on the Ciccone Committee, for her to become the first female is really an honor for me to swear her in. The only other thing, I want to thank all the young ladies, young female leaders. As I told them privately, you don't need to be sitting up on this dais. You don't need to be the mayor or a senator or an assemblywoman or freeholder or clerk to be a leader in your community. And as 5th graders, they are demonstrating that leadership. They are demonstrating to us, to the public, and representing Middletown in such a tremendous way that I'm honored to meet them and to hear their stories and understand why they do the things that they do in their community. And I want to thank them. I want to thank their families for being their cheerleaders, their chauffeurs, and thank them for all that they do. I want to thank all of our elected officials that were here tonight, all of our female elected officials, most importantly, and thank them for the services that they provide. I want to thank Heidi, and I want to thank Colleen for being female leaders in the community and in respective positions that they are. And you think about it 100 years ago, to think about how far we've come and how far we've come as a society, as a nation. 100 years ago, you wouldn't have, Chief, you missed my shout out to you. To see how far we've come and to see both of you in the positions that you're in, I want to thank you very much. And to Maureen, Jesse, Tara, Laura, I want to thank them and Committeewoman Snell for putting on and coordinating such a large event tonight. You guys did a great job, and way to go, girl power on you guys. And then finally, I just want to say thank you to a few of our volunteers here. Abe Littenberg, the head of our Economic Development Committee. Abe, I want to thank you. Pat Miller, I want to thank you, as always, for being part of our green team and always making my office hours a lot of fun with all your diagrams and pie charts and colorful actions. And then I will finally give a special shout out to, I'm wrapping it up, I promise you, to Colleen Lapp and her daughter, and to Bethany Weiss, who were in 1776, which was a all-female production of the play down at the Spring Lake Community Theater. Did a great job. It was a great Saturday night, and you should be very proud. So, with that being said, now that if I wasn't already winded from all the swearing in, thanks, Chief. Any member of the public wishing to make a public comment, I'll ask that you just give your first and last name for the record, address. I ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will let you know that you have 1 minute left, and if you can begin to wrap up your comments, that would be most appreciated. With that being said, any member of the public wishing to step forward? Yes, sir. Right on out.
Yes, good evening. My name is Dave Henry. I'm your health officer from the Monmouth County Regional Health Commission. It was an honor being here on such a historic night, and I started out as an inspector here in 1983. I think Tony and I started the same week, actually. So I couldn't ask for a better partner in Tony and Rich DiBenedetto as your health administrator. So I'm stopping around to all of my 19 towns to say hi, and just let everybody know that we're here for any assistance. Rich and I work very closely together. With the coronavirus, we've been working very closely. We're monitoring about 10 or so different people across 19 of our towns. I have some brochures in regards to what we do, and actually we were one of the 21 health departments in the state of New Jersey to get a $95,000 communicable disease grant. So with my team of 5 people, we've developed a strike team. So we've been working with long-term care facilities, schools, and actually working with trying to contain, potential coronavirus outbreaks and things like that. So I have those items, and we're looking to basically expand our communicable disease program to other municipalities, outside of Monmouth County, actually. And then also, blast from the past. I founded my office when my mayor, Rosemary Peters was mayor. She gave me an award as an Employee of the Year back in 1990 to 1993. So it's like old home week coming back today. So always with.
Was the Hudson curtain back here still?
I think it was.
Yeah.
They took a picture of me back there.
Yeah.
So basically, it's an honor to be here tonight, and if you have any questions for us, as in consent agenda, we end up saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars in regards to our shared service. Oh, and actually, we are the largest, oldest shared service health department in the state of New Jersey, and with recent legislative changes, we are now becoming the same as a local unit, so we'll have to follow all the same requirements as a municipality, except we have no debt. So
there you go.
Thank you.
You guys have been great with the shared service. If you keep that virus out of here, you'll be great.
Yeah.
We're working night and day on that.
That's good.
No pressure.
Thank you very much. Thank you for stopping by. We very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you very much. Any other member of the public? Yes, Pat. Come on down. Ladies first, again. We're celebrating the 19th Amendment.
I like your farewell speech. That was good.
All right, thank you.
I'm Pat Miller, 151 Borden Road, here in Middletown. I'm representing Middletown for Clean Energy, and as the mayor said, I'm also a member of the Green Team. Middletown for Clean Energy recently completed a comprehensive and well-researched energy plan for Middletown and distributed a draft to Middletown officials, department heads, and the Green Team. It was accompanied by a cover letter endorsed by 87 residents. The plan provides a roadmap for actions Middletown must take over the next 10 years to meet the state mandated goal of 100% clean energy by 2050, as set out in the Global Warming Response Act and New Jersey's new Energy Master Plan. It also provides a roadmap for attaining Sustainable Jersey's Gold Star in energy. We heartily support the community solar canopy at the train station, and I hope to hear more about that, and hope that it will go forward and it won't be the last such development of its kind. We urge Middletown to adopt the energy plan, adapted for use with or as part of the upcoming master plan revision, and immediately begin to take the actions prescribed by the plan. The first and most effective and cost-reducing action is to adopt renewable electric aggregation and make it available to the entire community. Several nearby towns have agreed to form a coalition to explore this opportunity, and we urge Middletown, as the largest town in Monmouth County, to join with them and provide leadership. Action to immediately reduce our fossil fuel emissions, and that's coal, oil, and gas, is necessary if we are to preserve the quality of life that we have come to know and love in Middletown for our children and grandchildren. Failure to do so soon enough heightens the risk of health and even life-threatening degradation of our air and water, and losing much or all of our bayshore land and buildings to sea level rise, without hugely expensive remediation efforts. In closing, I ask the committee to adopt and adapt the energy plan and to proceed immediately with carrying out its actions, starting with aggregating clean electricity for the community. Thank you.
So, Ms. Miller, and I'll talk to you after the meeting. I read your letter and I agree with many of the initiatives. As the mayor that was here during Sandy and also Irene, my chief and primary concern with forcing residents into an energy aggregation program, which committees of the past have entertained, not just this committee, they've entertained that. It's one thing to do it for the municipality. When we talk about microgrids, we talk about other things. But when we are to basically force residents into an energy aggregation program for not the distribution, it's not the transmission, it's the distribution, I guess, that you do. My only concern as an elected official is during those types of storm events like Sandy, and nobody got more calls than me at that point, I'm not sure that people understand when you make that break between JCP&L and going to an energy aggregation program, and you don't get your energy restored as fast as your neighboring town, that they think that there's some issue to it, that they're no longer, it's because the township took that action. That's a big concern as a government official, because the public has to also have some kind of, assurance that because you're making this change and you're forcing them to make this change. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying energy aggregation is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But when you actually make, as a government, the individual choice to have people opt automatically into a program, make them opt out, when you have those types of massive weather events, you take a lot of risk in terms of power restoration and education. And that's a concern that I think I'd love to hear how these other towns have gotten around that, or if they've, I saw the 87 signatures, or if they have just done this post-Sandy. Because I promise you, if we do this, if next month we decided to do this, and everybody opted in, bless you, everybody opted in, and they could save some money with this clean energy rate, we get a hurricane, power's out 9 days in October, it's not going to be a lot of understanding. It's going to be, you guys got away from JCP&L, and it's your fault. That's a concern. So I'd love to know, maybe as a perspective we took after the meeting, how other towns have addressed that, or have.
Okay, well, you may know that the first renewable energy contracts only went into force last summer.
No, it's been prior to that.
Renewable. Last July, I think, June and July were the first of those. I know some of the people went to the meeting of the various towns and heard, what other towns had to say about it. The fact that, you say that people are forced in it. Nobody is forced to.
Well, you have to
Anyone can opt out.
Well, that's forcing you in. That's forcing you in.
And the other thing I would say is, I'm not sure, I don't believe that it's a fact that JCP&L is going to slow down their service to us. But I think a massive community education program is necessary along with this to to try, if that's a misconception that people have, we want to try to avoid that misconception.
So would this energy aggregation company provide multiple educational venues? I mean, we could talk about Centros.
Yeah, if I could, I went to the meeting that Ms. Mills referring to. It was held in Middletown and invited about 10 municipalities to it. And I think if that's enough, we can go to those municipalities. And I was actually going to have this as a discussion item or a workshop meeting about the program. And what they're trying to do is encourage to get the best cost savings. Because right now, as an individual municipality,
they need a bunch of towns.
The cost savings is not very significant. If you get aggregated enough municipalities together, they think the cost savings will be noticeable for people. The issue over being opting in and opting out. For example, Eatontown gave the example. They were one of the first towns to win. And I asked, what percentage opted out? It was 21%. So I said, well, what percentage? What made up that 21%? One is, everyone needs to understand, if you have solar on your house, you can't participate. So if anyone who's put in solar already, they're out. And the other group were people who just basically didn't like the idea of being told what to do by government. And so they just opted out. But again, the cost savings was not dramatic. And it's gotten worse in the last couple of years. In fact, I think the last time around, Eatontown decided not to participate because there really wasn't a very. Well, and because the more you try to introduce renewables into the energy package, the lower your savings is going to be. You certainly argue that if you increase the percentage of renewables, let's say to 50%, even if your costs stay the same, that's still a good thing. And I know that's what Pat would say. But everyone at the meeting, every municipality there said, if it's not saving people money, we're not going to do it. So that was crystal clear, despite the philosophical benefits of having a higher percentage of renewables be your energy provider. You
now own the educational process.
And that's exactly what they spoke about doing some community meetings, community education, and before you implement it, let people know why you're doing it, let people know you're saying it, and include JCP&O, because JCP&O will tell you the infrastructure doesn't change.
Right.
If something goes down,
transmission,
it's just a distribution, and cost of distribution. So really, there should be no change. But I agree with you; it's a very hard thing to get people to understand in a crisis time. So you have to do a lot of education ahead of time. But I think it's something that we're moving in the direction of doing, and I think we probably should ultimately join the other municipalities. But I think our March 2nd meeting will have more complete discussion about how to move forward.
And Pat, to your other points and perspectives, you and I and Steve had a lot of conversations about this, and as you know, we will be including an energy plan within our master plan that we are doing. A lot of changes and encouragement of developed and what would be, newly developed spaces to increase the green infrastructure of those sites will be a requirement of it. We're looking right now at Campbell's Junction in terms of certain rain gardens that we can include in those areas, walkability of those areas. Right.
I certainly applaud all of
Yeah, complete streets, and like you and I discussed, complete streets, yeah, and like you and I discussed. Us taking a look at the train station in terms of solar project there that will be able to power all of Middletown's municipal buildings and eliminate that cost and be able to provide potential benefits far and beyond that. Tony and I have a meeting with NJ Transit I think on Monday to discuss this. To discuss that with NJ Transit, because obviously we lease part of the lot from them. But I think it's a win-win. And in fact, I spoke with the governor about it. He was nice enough to call me, and we discussed this project along with a couple others and about that. So we'll be working diligently about that and towards that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Any other member of the public wishing to make a public comment? Yeah, Ben.
Vince Moran, 39 Brevets, Leonardo. I have about 3 or 4 questions to ask you.
Shoot, man.
I'm going to rattle them all off and you can answer them.
You got it, go ahead.
I had a couple of people ask me, are they ever going to put that fence back around Uncle Park along that creek area? That's one question.
Okay.
Number 2, Ted, will they ever finish the creek? Okay. That's one.
We'll walk through the blowout if we can. That's good news.
Pardon?
We'll walk through the blowout.
Yeah, they pulled out where that one congested area that we've seen, but I was wondering if they were going to go, excuse me, to the rest of the back area where it's all laying over.
Okay, we'll get back to it.
Okay, that's all. My other concern is the water main lines that they're putting up on Highland Avenue. Okay? They're finished with the water lines. Okay? I read the resolution, or the ordinance that you made in 2019-3267, where you got to go curb to curb or edge to edge. I understand that 110%. My question is now that you had, and I think it's Panetta, you pronounce it that way, I'm not sure, that put the water line in?
Turn the finish.
PA, well, whatever. Okay. Now you have Gray Supply in there, putting in the gas line in the same trench.
Yes.
Okay.
We encourage utility companies to make one cut rather than them coming in and then 2 years later NJNG comes in and says we need to get in there. We want everybody to, anytime there's a open roadway permit, we encourage all utilities to do it all at the same time to avoid having to and Ted does a good job at trying to get them all to be aware of these trunks being made.
Okay. Now, it's the responsibility of the contractor to mill the road, correct? And resurface the road from curb to curb and edge to edge.
Yes.
Which contractor? That's what I'm asking. Are they going to butt heads and say, Gray's going to say, no, it's your responsibility because you put the trench in first, or no, you got in there last? You know what I'm saying? Which way do you go with that?
And before Ted answers that question, I just want to clarify what that public ordinance did last year. That public ordinance didn't require curb-to-curb paving. That ordinance has been in effect since probably 2017, 2016. The ordinance that you're referring to was an ordinance that Ted and I worked on with regard to, I wanted utility companies to understand, whether it's natural gas, water, electric, that if you come in and you cut for 200 linear feet, let's say, and then you skip 50 feet through an intersection, and then on the other side you go for another 200 linear feet. You got to go all the way through. You can't pave curb to curb, edge to edge, stop, and then curb to curb, edge to edge in the following 200, because then it looks ridiculous.
Okay, so that's down back. You just answered another question with me. Now that they're done and they're still working on some of the gas, they're working on a gas line on Center Avenue right now. Okay, they're finished on Leonard Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Highland to Center Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay, Leonard Avenue. All right, when you come up over the hill, like they got to go 50 linear feet beyond of what they have to do.
Correct.
Now, when they go to that 50 feet, you only got another 175. You only got 75 yards more to go to Center Avenue. All right? Gray dug up right on the corner of Center a 4x2 patch. They're cutting up 4x2 patches all the way down the road. Okay? So why can't we get from 36 to Center on Leonard completely paved?
Well, that's why we, in the ordinance, and Ted, correct me if I'm wrong, in the ordinance, we also put in the provision that it's at the discretion of the township engineer. Isn't that right? So that in events like this, Ted has the authority to instruct that that has to be done. Something like that would have to be looked at and required of. That was a critical part of the ordinance that stated that don't get your tape measure out and just count 200 linear feet, right? Ted has to approve that if it's 204 linear feet to the next trench, Ted has the authority to go out there and say that it is required of this, yes. So that's why we left that provision in there that grants Ted that authority.
But that was the main concern.
I agree, it's a concern of mine. And I really have to give kudos to Committeeman Heibel, because he's the one that really gets on, you know, Ted, especially Ted's case, about getting these utility companies to pave these roads. And you know, Ted does a great job. But we have 377 miles worth of roadway in town, construction here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. A lot of roadway in town. So Ted's got to harp on these utility companies to get this stuff done, and I understand it. And Rick does a nice job as to making sure that these projects alongside Ted are getting done in a timely manner, in a timely fashion.
Okay. Now, some of the roads where they're already patched up and they're moving on and on.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to maintain that? Repatch it? Put the coal patch like on the corner of Breathe and
I don't
it's all falling apart.
Well, they should, but it shouldn't be cold patch, it should be hot patch for the utility companies.
Yeah, they're putting in coal patches, what they're putting in it, you know?
Not in the summertime.
Yeah, it's temporary, they'll hot patch it and then
what they have there, it's got 90 to 180 days to settle it. I could go along with that. That's what, you know, I go along with that before they can repave it.
Yeah.
So, but that was the thing, it's like some of it's all blowing apart already.
Yeah.
The water got in there, it froze and it popped it up, we got potholes. Right?
Believe me, between Ted and Tony Mercantante and Rick Heibel, you almost feel sorry for the utility companies and the people that are our lines of communication with them, between NJNG, American Water, ACP now. So they're on it. They're on it, and that's why we made the change that we did.
Okay. Yeah.
Your 5 minutes is up. I'd let you go longer.
First question.
10 seconds.
First question.
What was it again?
The fence.
The fence. Ted, we replaced the fence along the creek and
I
Common.
don't know if we'll talk about that, whether we want to or not. It's really just to keep, baseballs from rolling into the brook, really. It's really not to keep anybody out of the brook, because the brook's not that deep. It's really to keep more of the park secure and balls from rolling out from the ball fields.
So then you're still able to summer bathe in the creek if you want.
I'm gonna wash my clothes, I gotta wash my I got a big old rock down there.
You got it.
All right.
All right.
Very much for the time.
Thank you, Ben.
Well, share that rock. Good evening, my name is Tom Watson, I live at 1000 Drive. I want to thank you all for taking responsibility of live streaming the meetings that will be happening at the new municipal center. And the gentleman that was talking about parking earlier made me think back a few years that juniors weren't allowed to drive to high school 50 years ago.
Is that right?
That's right.
You should raise your hand then, Don. Will I answer the question?
Yeah. Horses.
I didn't think of it. Probably with that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. Have a good night, okay? Any other member of the public wishing to step forward? Hal, last chance. Hey? All right. Seeing no other member of the public stepping forward, move to close public portion and adjourn.